picture this. You just wake up, your eyes flutter open, and the room is still, somewhat dark.
Oh yeah, that early morning haze.
Right. You haven't even thrown off the covers yet. You definitely haven't reached for your phone on the nightstand. But already there it is. That crushing, invisible weight of the day's expectations just settling right onto your chest.
It is the absolute worst feeling.
It really is. Like before your feet have even touched the floor or before you've even had a single conscious thought about what to wear, you're already feeling behind. It's this sensation of deficit that just seems to boot up in our brains before we even fully wake up.
Yeah, and it is an incredibly universal modern condition.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all experiencing this phenomenon of the day, deciding who we are before we've even had a chance to, participate in it.
Exactly.
Our nervous systems are reacting to a threat that hasn't even materialized yet. It's purely based on the anticipation of our schedules.
And that anticipatory dread, that's really the launching pad for our deep dive today. We are unpacking a fascinating set of materials today. They're excerpts from 2 morning spiritual guides, well, videos really, created by a guide named Daniel.
And the titles alone really lay out the mission here. One is called Divine Sufficiency for the Morning Pressure, and the other is Waking in Peace, a daily prayer for divine alignment.
Right, which sounds amazing. And just to be super clear right up front, Daniel's framework is inherently faith-based. It draws heavily on scripture.
Yeah, that's an important note.
So, crucial disclaimer for everyone listening. We aren't here to endorse any specific religious theology or take sides politically or spiritually.
No, not at all. We are maintaining strict impartiality here.
Exactly. We just want to impartially explore the psychological and structural architecture he uses to combat that morning anxiety, because honestly, it is completely fascinating to break down. We want to understand the mechanics of how he proposes reprogramming our morning default setting from panic to peace.
And looking closely at the precise language the text uses to diagnose this phenomenon, it reveals a lot about why we feel so exhausted by 8 a.m.
Oh, for sure.
There is this incredibly evocative phrase in the material. It describes how, in those first waking moments, our minds start doing the math before our hearts have even caught up.
Doing the math. Man, that captures the cold, calculating nature of morning anxiety perfectly.
Doesn't it?
You're just lying there and your brain is instantly running algorithms like, if it takes 20 minutes to commute and I need to answer 3 emails before the stand-up meeting and the kids need lunches packed.
Then you're already 14 minutes late.
Yes, you are quantifying your inadequacy before you've even brushed your teeth.
Right, and the psychological reality of doing the math is that it forces your brain to systematically line up every potential failure point for the next 16 hours.
Ugh, that sounds exhausting, just saying it out loud.
It is. And the source points out that without you even consciously realizing it, this mental arithmetic allows the day to start shaping you. It exerts this heavy pressure that leaves you feeling, well, the text describes it as thin or depleted right from the jump.
Wow, depleted before you even start.
Yeah, because you are allocating cognitive resources to solve problems that don't exist yet in the physical world. And according to this framework, this happens because you haven't grounded yourself in the entity that actually holds the day.
Yeah.
You're trying to hold it all yourself.
Okay, let's unpack this. It's like waking up as a computer that booted up with 20 heavy browser tabs already trying to load all the things that could go wrong.
That is a perfect analogy.
Right. You've got tabs for financial stress, relational conflict, career anxiety.
And whatever the news cycle is doing today.
Exactly. Your internal CPU is just maxed out before you've even opened a single application you actually need to use. You're just instantly drained listening to your cooling fan scream.
And the physical manifestation of that overloaded CPU is what the text identifies as bracing.
Bracing.
Yeah, bracing. The material draws a very stark contrast between the act of waking up, bracing for impact, versus waking up, resting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, because bracing is a physiological state. Your shoulders creep up toward your ears, your jaw clenches, your breathing becomes, shallow and restricted.
I'm literally noticing my jaw unclenching right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You are physically preparing your body to absorb a blow from your own calendar.
When you put it like that, it sounds like we are treating our daily lives as an active combat zone.
Pretty much.
And if bracing is the physical response, the psychological consequence is that we spend our entire day on the defensive. We aren't acting, we are purely reacting.
Just trying to survive the incoming fire of emails and obligations.
Exactly. So if bracing drains our battery before breakfast, what is the alternative Daniel actually proposes here?
Well, the entire premise of his work is about consciously resisting that defensive posture. It's about orienting yourself differently so you aren't starting the day anticipating a hit.
Okay.
The text proposes an antidote to this morning pressure, which is centered around a paradigm shift in how we view our own capacity.
Okay, but wait, I have to push back on this on behalf of anyone listening right now who feels like they are barely keeping their head above water.
Sure, go for it.
When my CPU is already at 99% capacity, the idea of adding a structured spiritual routine like a morning prayer, it just feels like opening a 21st browser tab.
I hear that.
It feels like one more demanding task on an incredibly crowded to-do list. Like, if I'm stressed about time, doesn't spending 10 minutes in quiet alignment just make me 10 minutes more behind?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the source material actually anticipates that exact skepticism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the philosophy here explicitly counters the idea of prayer as just another productivity task. The text emphasizes that starting with this framework is absolutely not about checking a spiritual box or, adding a chore to your morning.
So what is it about then?
It's about choosing where your trust rests. The text summarizes its core thesis in this one really powerful line. It says, direction matters more than speed, and alignment matters more than efficiency.
Direction matters more than speed, and alignment matters more than efficiency. Man, that directly attacks the central dogma of our modern work culture.
It completely flips it.
Because we are culturally obsessed with efficiency, right? We celebrate life hacks, reading at double speed, optimizing our morning routines to squeeze out every extra drop of productivity. We are basically taught that if we can just move faster, we can finally outrun the pressure.
But Daniel's text argues that this is a mathematical impossibility. I mean, if your direction is off, your speed is completely irrelevant.
You just get lost faster.
Exactly. You will just arrive at the wrong destination, which in this case is total burnout, much faster.
Wow.
If you were deeply misaligned internally, being highly efficient at clearing your inbox is just going to leave you empty. So the goal of this practice is a fundamental shift away from self-sufficiency.
Okay, so moving away from relying just on ourselves.
Right. It dismantles the idea that you have to white-knuckle your way through the day's demands on your own strength, and it moves you toward a state of complete surrendered trust.
Now, surrendered trust sounds incredibly peaceful in theory, but, it can also sound alarmingly passive. Like, if I surrender my trust, am I just letting the day run me over?
That's a great question, and to understand how this works in practice, the sources use some specific historical and biblical touchstones as mental frameworks. They don't just leave it as this vague, abstract concept.
That's good. We need to ground this. What kind of frameworks?
Well, the text brings up a very famous scriptural case study to illustrate the active mechanics of surrendered trust, which is Moses standing at the edge of the Red Sea.
Okay, classic story.
Right, but the context the source provides for this historical narrative is crucial for understanding the psychological application here. From a purely human perspective, Moses was trapped in a scenario with absolutely no visible human solution.
None.
He had an aggressive, heavily armed military force advancing behind him and an impassable ocean directly in front of him.
That is the ultimate modern equivalent of, like, a supply chain collapse and a looming deadline colliding at the exact same time.
Yeah.
There is no amount of personal efficiency, no life hack, and no typing speed that is going to part an ocean.
Exactly. And the text emphasizes that Moses received divine help, specifically because he didn't rely on his own strength or attempt to engineer a solution out of thin air.
He had to stop trying to fix it himself.
Right. He had to stand still and acknowledge his complete lack of control before the path opened up. The framework Daniel's proposing uses this as a template for our mornings. It argues that acknowledging our lack of control isn't passive apathy at all. It is actually the prerequisite for receiving provision.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me looking at the text. Daniel isn't pitching the act of acknowledging God first as some sort of magic spell. The prayer isn't a transactional token where you put in 10 minutes of quiet time and the vending machine dispenses a canceled 10 a.m. meeting and a zeroed out inbox.
No, not at all.
Instead, it operates as a cognitive and spiritual filter. The source explicitly says that when we acknowledge God first, it makes our reactions soften and our discernment sharpen.
Softened reactions and sharpened discernment. Think about the psychological impact of that combination for a second.
Okay.
A softened reaction means when the inevitable crisis hits your desk at 9:30 a.m., your nervous system doesn't immediately flood with cortisol.
You aren't bracing.
Right. You don't snap at your coworker or send a defensive, emotionally charged email. And then sharpened discernment means you can look at the crisis, and accurately identify what actually matters, rather than treating every urgent notification as an equal threat.
That is huge.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text uses a couple of specific scriptural anchors to explain the underlying logic behind this shift.
What are the specific anchors he uses to justify this internal shift?
Well, the first is a reference to Colossians 3.12, which talks about doing everything in word or deed in the name of the Lord Jesus.
Okay, and how does the text interpret that?
It interprets this not as a religious rule, but as a transfer of ownership. It means you fundamentally do not have to carry the weight of the outcome alone. You are operating as a representative.
Which removes the crushing burden of ultimate responsibility from your shoulders.
Exactly. You are just doing the work, not holding the universe together. The second anchor is Proverbs 3.6, which discusses acknowledging him in all your ways so that he will direct your paths.
Right.
This reinforces the idea that divine help isn't an emergency ripcord you only pull when the project is already failing. It is a daily provision designed to guide the steps before the crisis even occurs.
So we've diagnosed the problem, right? Waking up, bracing with our mental CPUs maxed out by anticipatory anxiety.
Yeah.
And we've explored the proposed antidote, which is prioritizing spiritual alignment and trusting direction over hyper-efficient speed. Let's look at the actual execution now.
Yes, let's.
How does Daniel structure the prayer itself to install this new operating system? I know the text refers to this process as the quiet work.
The quiet work, yes. Analyzing the specific requests Daniel makes in the text reveals a really highly intentional psychological progression. The prayer doesn't start by asking for an easy day.
Okay, what does he ask for?
First, there is a request asking to be upheld against the pressure of the world. Then, a request for steps to be ordered before they are taken. He is asking for hearts to be steadied before the pressure even arrives.
That is preemptive studying.
Yeah.
You are pouring concrete into the foundation before the storm hits, rather than trying to hold the walls up from the inside while the wind is blowing.
That's a great way to look at it. And furthermore, there is a highly specific, highly practical request embedded in the prayer. Daniel asks for help to pause when we feel rushed and to listen before we speak.
Oh, wow. Vocalizing that intention is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
By speaking the desire to pause when rushed, you are essentially setting a cognitive tripwire for yourself. When the rush inevitably hits later in the day, your brain recognizes the sensation and triggers the memory of the morning's intention. But I have to ask about the fragility of this mindset.
Yeah.
As I struggle to see how an unexpected, catastrophic disruption doesn't just shatter this morning peace. Let's say you do the quiet work. You have a beautiful, aligned morning. You are resting, not bracing.
Okay.
Then you commute to work. Someone rear-ends your car, or you get an email that a massive client just pulled their contract.
Oh, the worst.
Right. So what does this all mean for the rest of the day? Does that sudden distraction or trauma just instantly cancel out the morning prayer?
That is honestly the most common hurdle when adopting any centering practice. And the source addresses the durability of this alignment directly.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, the text explicitly states that distractions do not undo this alignment. Unexpected moments of chaos do not cancel it out. The architecture of this trust is built to withstand impact.
How does the text claim to bulletproof us against those visceral real-world stressors? Because a car crash is pretty real.
It is. The mechanism relies on what the text calls the decision to trust working quietly beneath everything that follows.
Quietly beneath.
Yes. The phrase the source uses indicates that you are continuing from a place that is already centered. If the day asks more of you than you expected, if the client pulls out or the car gets hit.
You don't start from zero.
Exactly. You do not have to conjure up peace from scratch with intense effort or strain. You simply remember that the foundational weight you surrendered earlier is still not yours to carry. The text states, "The Lord is already ahead of you, and his faithfulness does not flinch."
If we go back to our computer analogy, the morning prayer acts like a highly sophisticated task manager.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Surrendered trust doesn't delete the tabs. The client issue and the car accident still exist and require your attention.
You still have to deal with them.
But the task manager stops those problems from running maliciously in the background and draining your core system power. It suspends the existential panic so that your CPU can handle the immediate task in front of you.
Yes.
The operating system just hums along, keeping the motherboard stable even when individual applications are crashing.
That underlying stability is the ultimate goal of the quiet work. And it's fascinating to examine the modern delivery system for this ancient concept of quiet stability.
What do you mean by the delivery system?
Well, at the end of the source material, in the creator's outro, Daniel goes through the standard YouTube protocol. He asks his listeners to subscribe, click the bell, like, comment, and share.
Wait, really, it's quite a juxtaposition.
Yes.
You have this deep, contemplative exploration of divine surrender, immediately followed by the algorithmic demands of engagement metrics. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for inner peace.
I know, it is a striking juxtaposition. But Daniel specifically notes that engaging with the video helps keep this prayer ministry going and growing.
Ah, okay.
He is utilizing the very tools of modern digital speed and efficiency to propagate a message about slowing down and seeking alignment.
That makes sense.
It highlights an emerging intersection where a deeply personal, isolated spiritual practice is simultaneously building a sprawling, interconnected digital community. He is facilitating a massive, collective experience of individuals all seeking to reset their morning defaults together.
It's a brilliant adaptation of ancient survival mechanisms for the digital age, honestly. People are flocking to these guides because the modern baseline of burnout is just completely unsustainable.
Totally unsustainable.
So as we synthesize everything we've pulled from Daniel's framework, the core argument here is essentially an act of rebellion. It's a refusal to carry the momentum of the day purely on your own shoulders.
Yes. The text is arguing that we must deliberately prioritize spiritual alignment and intentional direction over our cultural obsession with rushed, frantic efficiency.
Right.
It repositions surrendered trust from being a desperate last resort when things fall apart into a proactive daily provision that fortifies you before the day even begins.
And for you, the listener, the application here is profound. Because whether you share the specific theological beliefs outlined in Daniel's prayers, or you are simply looking for a way to stop waking up in a cold sweat every morning.
Which is a lot of us.
Exactly. The underlying mechanics of this practice are universally relevant. The concept of choosing how to anchor your mind, of deciding exactly where your focus and trust will rest before the external demands of the world invade your bedroom, that is a massive psychological weapon against burnout.
It really is.
It is the fundamental difference between letting the day happen to you and deciding the posture you will take as you step into it. It's closing out the background anxiety that is eating up your mental battery and choosing a totally different operating mode. Instead of waking up bracing for impact, you can architect a routine that allows you to wake up resting in a foundation that is larger and more durable than your own to-do list.
Beautifully said. And all of this structural analysis raises an incredibly vital question about our daily habits. And it's the thought I want to leave you to mull over today.
Lay it on us.
Based on the realities of the morning pressure we've explored today, if you aren't intentionally choosing an anchor or a specific direction for your mind before your feet hit the floor, what invisible force, unchecked expectation, or lingering anxiety is currently defaulting as the architect of your day?